Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. As you can all tell from the title of this video, you guys can see that this is actually going to be a very serious topic. Now, the reason for me doing this is I had come across a few posts about women talking about their stories with their own babies going through RSV, and they're trying to spread awareness about the virus. And I have my own story about the virus, and I wanted to come onto here and share my own experience with my own son going through with this virus. So I'm going to try to make this short to let all you new parents and even parents of just little ones, I wanted to make you guys aware that not just infants can be affected by this illness. Mainly it affects 0 through 5-year-olds, but it can also affect adults too. I was actually affected by it, and so was my mom, and we were all very sick for a long time. According to the CDC, the 2018-2019 RSV season was at its peak. Anyway, moving on to our story. I can remember it very clearly. It was December 13th, 2019, and Roman was 2 months old, and I noticed within the past couple days he started drinking less. Now, he was a baby who actually wanted about 6 to 8 ounces per bottle, which was crazy, but he was a very healthy baby. He was 14 pounds at 2 months old. Now, I noticed it decreased to like 4 ounces and then even 2 ounces. That worried me, but I really thought nothing of it because I just thought, well, maybe he's gotten his fill, he doesn't need as much to drink, so I thought everything was fine. I brought him to my mom's house, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he just threw up. He wasn't a baby to just spit up a lot. Like, he would spit up, but it wouldn't be a lot. And this was a lot. And it worried me. And I started to notice that he was wheezing. He sounded congested. So I called the doctor, and we went into urgent care at around 8 p.m. And they actually tested him for RSV, and they said that his results came back negative. Less than 5 hours later, his outlet sock told me that his oxygen went down to 80%. When you look up 80% oxygen, that's considered deadly, and you need to be rushed to the hospital. So I rushed him to the hospital. My family stayed there with me until we found a room, and it was like 2 a.m. by the time we had a room. It was in the children's hospital, and all I can remember is that I was feeling sick myself, and so was my mom, and I can just remember holding him in my arms the entire night. I would breastfeed him a little bit, and thankfully he kept that down, and he was asleep on me. I had a little blanket on him, and I was actually in the hospital alone till about 4 or 5 a.m. because my parents were getting stuff from the house that me and Roman would need. So I was holding my 2-month-old, who I could not tell was breathing good except for a little monitor on his foot, and I could tell, like, I remember reading about 88 to 92%, I think is what it was at. That's really bad, and it scared the heck out of me, but I didn't know better. I just thought, okay, he's breathing, he's fine, right? Well, anyway, the next day they said that he was breathing better. I think the measurement that he would have to be at was 98%. And apparently he was breathing at 98%, but that was only because he was getting some oxygen, and when they took him off, he stayed there for like an hour. Well, we came back home and he was dropping down still. I think it was over the weekend that we just kept monitoring him, and we went to the doctor, his pediatrician, on Monday, and his doctor said that he definitely wasn't breathing well. He was doing really bad. He was really sick. And he said that if he hits 80% again, take him back to the hospital. That night, he hit 80%. And I rushed him to the hospital. We were in the ER, gosh, I think it was 8 hours. When he first got there, they asked for how much oxygen he was getting. They checked him, it was 80%. I told him it was 80%. And they took him straight into the ER to get an x-ray. And they checked and said that he had RSV and even had developed pneumonia. That was like 4 days after they said that he didn't even have RSV. So he had developed pneumonia by that time. And according to the CDC, you can develop pneumonia and or bronchitis with this illness. Anyway, so we brought him into the ER. They gave him different medications through IV. They had to put an IV through his head, and I can show you guys that picture here. It was very uncomfortable. He was really little, so he napped a lot, and so he was on and off sleeping. He was feeling very ill. I had to be there 24/7 taking care of him while I was feeling ill. So was my mom, yet she stayed there with me the entire time. My dad was in and out bringing us some food, bringing us anything that we needed. My husband was like always at work, and when he wasn't, he would come and stay with us. It was just a process where he was there for a long time, 8 hours later. So it was at 2 in the morning until like 10 a.m. Finally, we found a room in the children's hospital. Once again, it was a different room, and he was hooked up again, and instead of staying overnight, we stayed there for I think about 2 or 3 days, maybe even 4 days. I can't remember exactly. The days kind of mushed together because that's how long we were in there. I think it was actually December 17th when we were finally discharged from the hospital. But throughout that time, we had to do chest palpitations, if that's how you say it, to separate the mucus in his chest. I think they even did it in his back, gave him medications. I had to check his diapers to make sure he was peeing well enough. I had to give him Pedialyte because he would not take my breast milk. He would barely take any formula. He would just continuously throw it up. That was very hard. We had to like have saline injected into his nose through syringe just to get him to breathe better. And it was just a whole process that left me feeling hopeless and praying to God that he was going to make it. after we were discharged from the hospital, he was at 98% oxygen. But when we got home, it was still a battle of will he be okay. We actually got a machine called the Nosy Boo, which was a big help. Instead of using the nose Frida, this is nothing to go with what item's better than the other, but the nose Frida didn't cut it for us. The nose Frida was actually the thing that got me sick, and yes, I did change out the filters. I cleaned it after each use. It didn't help. It made me sick. So instead, we used something called the Nosy Boo, and it was a motorized suction, kind of like what they have at the hospital. Yes, he was not a fan of it. He cried every single time, but it's because we had to suck snot out of his nose. That's painful. But it got the job done. And eventually he started to get better. He was on antibiotics, and I want to say it was mid-January that he started to actually do better. He was coughing all the way up until like mid-January. We did not get to celebrate Christmas until like early February, and even then he never got to see Santa. He never got to enjoy any of the holidays, which, yes, I understand he was too young to even understand it, but that's still something that he missed. I missed that. Yet when he was in the hospital, I would turn on Christmas movies, but the thing is, it's not the same being in the hospital during the holidays. And I just want you guys to understand that this is a serious illness, and I would not want any of you to go through what I had to go through, and I hope I don't have to go through it again. It was awful, and I just want you all to know that I understand. There are people out there who understand. If any of you have questions, please refer to a mom friend, to a doctor, anyone, because this illness is serious. And the way he got it was, I went to a Black Friday event, and a lady came up to him, said, "What a cute baby," and before I knew it, she kissed him on the cheek. I was mortified. But then I got sick. So did my mom. So yes, we could have played a big, huge part in it, but it was mainly then that he got the illness, and it all went downhill from there. Thank you all for listening this far into the video, and stay safe. Bye, guys.